Good morning, Niagara. You're tuned to Car Connection, where the coffee's hot, the tools are ready, and the talk is always tuned up. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you straight from the Car Connection workshop, where we mix a little humor, a little know-how, and a whole lot of horsepower. Here, it's not just about fixing cars, it's about keeping you rolling, saving you money, and giving you the confidence to understand what's under that hood. From the classics to the commuters to the weird noises to the what the heck moments, we've got you covered. So grab your coffee, sit back, join the crew, because this is Car Connection, your Monday through Saturday morning pit stop for stories, smarts, a few good laughs. And I'm Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and we are shifting into drive this morning. How are things going out there? Going on out there? You doing okay this morning? I hope so. It is still winter. I'm just saying. I stuck my head out the gopher hole this morning, and the groundhog bit me. Yeah. His name is Won't He. You'll have to watch for the video on, not on YouTube. That'll be on Facebook and Instagram. We have a reel going up. Yeah. And we have our very own Car Connection workshop, Wyerton Willie kind of feller. So you'll have to stick around and find that video. I think it's getting loaded up Friday, February 27th. So stick around for that. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to do 10 things at once this morning. You ever done that? First and foremost is grab your favorite morning beverage. Thank you for bringing us along this morning if you're on your drive into work. And if someone would shoot me an email and just let me know, is the volume on our podcast too high? I had someone like Skippy saying she's having to crank it up at the store she works at Monday through Saturday. So if you're looking for furniture, head into Bridgeburg Furniture in Fort Erie, and you'll meet our very own videographer, Skippy. She's saying, your podcasts are really, really low, and I'm looking on my EQ, and I see that I turned the gain up this morning a little bit. So let me know if that's blowing your ears off and Skippy is in some kind of volume dreamscape. And she's saying she's having to put the steering wheel on the volume knob and crank it over 100 in order to hear the podcast. But what I'm seeing on my screen is showing me that I'm quite a bit louder this morning, and I turned it up just a few decibels. So somebody shoot me an email, Niall at ccbusnet.com, Niall at NILE at CCBUS as in Sam, NET.com, or go into our website, carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com, and there is a website form there. Let me know if this is way too loud for you guys out there, and then we'll just nicely let Skippy know and smile and nod and go, it's all right. We got this. Well, good morning to you. If you're just driving through the takeout window, double check your order. Lock that down in your cup holder. We don't want any splash on the passenger floor. And pass over the 16 pack of Crayola crayons and the folded up leaf bag, and just let them know that is a Car Connection Workshop laptop. So take some notes this morning. If you've missed any of our broadcasts, we'll be moving into season 2, episode 101 next week, early next week. This morning's episode is season 1, episode 95, and we're going to be talking about how many of you out there have had a vehicle given to you as a hand-me-down by someone in the family, an aunt, an uncle, grandparent, parents. Might have been your older brother's car or older sister's car, or a neighbor says, come and get this car. I want to give it to you. We're going to be talking about that, hand-me-down cars and why they last longer in families. And, I think I finally figured that part out a little bit. So, yeah, share your thoughts as well. You can put a comment in any one of our YouTube videos, put a comment in there, send me an email through our website form, or simply email me, niall@ccbusnet.com, BUS as in Sam, NET.com, and let me know, hey, when did you get a car given to you last, or a hand-me-down? Did you get a hand-me-down during school, automobile, and how did you treat that vehicle? Did you treat it any differently than something, a beater that you bought for $500? Good luck with that one. If they're beaters, they're done. That's what I've noticed is, I used to call them finding a goodie once in a while. And I'll tell you, that just isn't happening like it used to. I would try and find what I called my $500 beauties, clean them up, take it all apart inside, do all the mechanicals, and pass it off to one of my clients for a son or a daughter to go to school or back and forth to co-op. And I'll tell you, by the time I finished them, they were already gone. They're already spoken for. And what I did notice was these inexpensive vehicles that I was doing up and getting into the hands of mummies and daddies and grandparents saying, I want that for my granddaughter, and sell it off to them, they'd take care of it. Because a grandparent, especially if it was a grandparent or an aunt or uncle who purchased the car to hand down to them, they would treat it totally different. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. Has somebody in your family over the years, in the past or present, have given a family member an automobile, a hand-me-down automobile? Let's talk about that. Put that in the comment section on any one of our videos, or on Facebook, Instagram. That's where you'll find us. We're on every platform out there, and everything we talk about here in the Car Connection Workshop is the biggest drawer in our toolbox, and everything we talk about lives on the homepage of our website at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. That's where you'll find all the links for all the platforms we're involved in, so you can follow us, like us, share us, leave a comment on our YouTube videos. We just finished filming yesterday the fleet service maintenance, Car Connection maintenance schedule, breaking it down for you step by step, and that drops this Friday, February the 27th. So that's our Friday video. Tuesday's videos will be dropping today, so we put two new videos up on Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday, 1 on Friday, 3 new videos every week, teaching you what it is, where it is, how it works, how it breaks, and what you could learn about taking better care of your automobile that would give you enough smarts to prevent you from getting ripped off at the service department or service desk or repair shop, whatever you want to call it. That will put some knowledge in your pocket, in your back pocket. And all the videos that I do, I teach you all those 5 things so that you can get a better understanding how these things we call vehicles work. So that once you have that understanding, the basics never change. So I teach you the basic fundamentals. So on the homepage of our website, carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com, top right-hand corner is all the links for all the platforms. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Stevensvilleontheweb.ca. And you'd say, well, what platform is that? Well, Skippy, our videographer, created that website. She lives in Stevensville. Her family's in Stevensville. My family's in Stevensville. And there's some great eateries there and some fantastic mom and pop shops in that little town. There's a lot of stuff going on in the little town of Stevensville. They're people. And she created the website to bring the business owners and the community together, to unite them together to support one another. So they put us up a profile page there. So that's why you can find us there by clicking on the businesses tab and visit all the businesses there. One of my favorite foodies there is Scuttlebutts. I've never had a bad meal there. Great atmosphere. It's just a little hole in the wall, but the food's good. The atmosphere is good. If you're ever in Stevensville, check it out and let Christy know that Motormouth sent you. Also, you will find our iHeartRadio link on the top right-hand corner, and we have our own Car Connection Motor Mouth merch store where you can go in, select some items, pick your size, your color, and make sure that you get a limited edition Car Connection beverage holder. Coffee cup, okay? Coffee cup. We have our very own Car Connection coffee cup after 31 years on radio. I laugh about it because why did we wait so long? I don't know. It's an IDK. I simply don't know. You'll find all the logos for all our program partners that make this broadcast possible, make our YouTube channel possible, and we're always needing program partners to help us until we get monetized. Then that changes things. And the whole idea of monetization for us is not to get another shiny thing, but to be able to take care of widows, orphans, single moms, and seniors, and those who are going through some very financially struggling, that's hard to say, isn't it? Struggling financial times, economic times, that we would be able to buy the parts we need, install the parts in the shop here, shoot the videos, share them with you, and be able to continue to move forward and build our channel. So help us to do that by liking, sharing, following, ringing the notification bell, do all those things, leave a comment. All those little things help us to keep the ignition on and running on all cylinders all the time. So thank you for that. Well, let's talk about our weather this morning. Our daily weather report brought to us by City Auto Sales and Leasing. You can buy with confidence, be treated with nothing less than honesty, integrity, low mileage, quality vehicles at fair prices. That's how they've earned the title Greater Toronto Area's premier pre-owned auto store. They have in-house financing, and I'll tell you, their vehicles look like brand spanking new. Earl and Louise Grant, husband and wife team for over 25 years, providing people in the GTA and surrounding areas with top quality vehicles. Again, buy with confidence, be treated with nothing but honesty and integrity. That's City Auto Sales and Leasing. 12 degrees right now, and again, I only speak in Fahrenheit, and it's snowing. And it has been snowing here on the south shores of Fort Erie, where our studio is, and our workshop studio, for 3 days now. So we've had snows, woken up to fresh snowfall for the last 3 days, and it looks like it's going to continue for us along the south shores of Lake Erie. The wind is making it feel really cold this morning. It's snappy out there and about 4 degrees. So from 12 degrees, the wind makes it feel about 4 degrees. Cloudy conditions expected around 8 a.m. Today's temperature range, 12 degrees to 26 degrees, and it's going to feel like 3 to 17. So dress warm, keep an eye on road conditions, and drive safe. Adjust your driving habits to suit the road conditions. So they're saying 0.15 of an inch of snow in the last 24 hours. Well, we got probably 1 to 2. So in the next 24 hours, they're calling for 1 to 2 inches in our area, anyhows. So we'll just see how that pans out, because there's about 1 to 2 inches there right now, and it's still snowing pretty good. Well, let's have our morning swiggy together, brought to us by Rainbow Motors and Garage in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. So if you're ever up that way, they fix all years, makes and models of automobiles right up to and including light truck, commercial vehicles. They have a small car lot there and the resources to find that specific vehicle you're looking for. Some of their vehicles do qualify for an aftermarket warranty, so if that's of interest to you, that is available to you at Rainbow Motors and Garage in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, with Rita and Ramiz, the brothers, taking great care of our Car Connection listeners up in Scarborough. Sales and service you can trust. So get your favorite morning beverage ready. You got it? We're going to count it down on 3, 2, 1. That's how we do it here in the Car Connection Workshop for 32 years now. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I put a little extra local honey in my morning beverage. I have this thing that that prevents me from gaining weight. It's called cortisol. So after you wake up, you should not drink coffee for at least 1 hour. I got to tell you this. It works. It does work. I don't understand it. I haven't studied it. I haven't sat in at my laptop or my iPad or my iPhone and checked to see why that is. I just heard one of the online influencers, Dr. Mandel. I've been watching him for probably 5 years, and I'll tell you, he always gives you a morning health tech tip. And I'll tell you this, if you listen to him and you do what he says, it actually works. So, and I remember him saying, do not have any coffee for 1 hour after you wake up. Make yourself an herbal tea or some warm water or something else, but do not stuff coffee in your face right away because it has something to do with cortisol, and cortisol makes you fat. I don't know. You can check that out. So that's Dr. Mandel. He's got a great YouTube channel, and the guy gives away some fantastic health tidbits. So I'm going to have another swiggy. You okay with that? All right. And that is good. So I'm using one of his morning herbal recipes that you can use to kind of satisfy that hot, steamy something or other going down your neck in the morning. And it works. I guess got to tell you, it does work. So this morning we're going to be talking about hand-me-down cars and why they last longer in families. Why do you think that is? Have you seen that actually happen in front of you in your own family? Somebody has said, hey, grandpa or grandma passes away and they leave a grandson or granddaughter a vehicle, or have you passed a vehicle down to your kids, and do they take care of it? And this has always been a question in the back of my mind. That's why I thought I'd open it up for discussion, because it is really interesting. And because people know that I'm a really good caregiver of anything you give to me, if I like it. No, I'm just kidding. If I like it. That's a good answer. That's an honest answer. I take care of stuff, and especially automobiles. And I respect vehicles because they cost a lot of money. And how many times do you really want to keep buying automobiles? So if you can take something, and I mentioned this in the video yesterday that we posted Friday on fleet service maintenance and how that can put a whole lot of money back in your pocket, and don't get stuck in the never plan, working hard, home to work, 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 and that's just the first week. And you start to see the visualization of being like a hamster running on that wheel, and you get on that wheel and you run, look around, get off, lick the little ball, get some water, grab a pellet, jump back on, run, and make a car payment. Plus insurance, plus gas, and oil, and maintenance. And do you take care of it? Or by the time you finish making the last payment, you're already looking at how you can jump into the next vehicle and keep yourself debt poor. I call it car poor. How many years would you like to continue to do that and play what I call the automotive game? You don't have to change these things out like the talking heads say, like the white noise. And I talk about that in depth on the video that will drop this Friday on our YouTube channel, Friday, February 27th. We've almost smoked this month. Spring is coming, baby. You don't have to get rid of these vehicles. My Toyota FJ Cruiser is going to be almost 20 years this July. It'll be 19 and a half years old. And we're heading for 400,000 K. How does it do it? You got to caregive it. Nobody gave me that vehicle. But this past summer, one of our morning show, when I was still on the airways, on the 1 a.m. station in Canada, I was always on top drawer stations in the U.S. for many years, 24 and a half years, till the COVID campaign kicked in, and that took 26 years of hard work and tore it apart. We lost 50% of what we built for Car Connection and reaching people all over North America and around the world, tore it in half. That's a story for another day. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that is still a very sore spot for me, because that's why I don't talk politics, because it would take me way too long to come out of that rant. But we are going to talk in car insurance. Yes, we are. I am loading up the information so that we can talk about car insurance. We can share our stories, good, bad, or ugly. We're going to throw it out there and talk about it so we can have a little bit of, relief, counseling, a little bit of counseling together. Get that off your chest. But here's what I find is, like this past summer, we had one of our listeners. I was away at my brother-in-law's cottage for my summer getaway. Just do a little, well, actually, it's not really summer. I end up being the last one swinging the door on the cottage. I don't know how that happens. I'm the last man standing in like September, but it is a good month for fishing. Yeah. And just relaxing. Exactly. Just, kind of unwind. It takes me about a week just to unwind. And then the following week, I kind of in the groove of, I still get up early, like 4 o'clock, ding, eyes are open, and I get up and get started and enjoy the day. I don't want to miss a single thing. That's it. I don't want to miss nothing. So I get a call, and long story short, a vehicle is dropped off at our Car Connection workshop while I'm away. Exactly how we discussed it. It went down. It got shipped down here. And when I got back, I looked it over, and we knew what the game plan was to check it over. It had already been checked, but check it over against the check over to see if the check over was valid or not. And you have to watch that video because there were definitely some discrepancies on what, where, how, and how come. Yeah. And so the vehicle ended up being donated to us, and I decided to put the labor and the effort in and shoot a whole pile of videos to show you how you can bring something back from the brink of destruction. And the vehicle had been sitting about 11 months, and it was a family member's car, the mom, and it has some sentimental attachments to it. And I think that got me thinking about this morning's topic. Hand-me-down cars and why they last longer in families. I think it's that emotional attachment. And as I was looking this vehicle over, and I'm going, yeah, that's a tough spot right there. That one, yeah, the vehicle had some damage in the back underneath, and the rusties were starting to really build up in some areas. And it was looking tough in some areas, and the workload was going to be heavy duty. It needed some serious front end work and brakes, like everything. It needed everything, and a couple of tires. And the mileage is low. 119,000 kilometers to me is like not even warmed up yet. But I could feel the sentimentality in that vehicle, and I got thinking, my mom passed away in January of 2022, and she was our commander. She kept us all in line. So now we're kind of running crazy. We don't have a commander now. But I got to thinking, if this was my mom's car, what would I do? What would I do with it? And I thought, you know what? If we can take a 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler and rescue it from the crusher. And I was laying in the mud under this thing in my yard, I call my yard clothes, checking the frame and looking it over. And it shouldn't even have been it was in the middle of a trucking scrap yard. 53-foot box trailers, box trucks, 24-foot long box trucks, travel trailers, motor coaches, highway coaches. Like it was out of place. It was like a toothpick in a swamp. I don't know why I said that, but that gives you a good visual. A toothpick in the middle of a swamp. And I'm like looking at it, I'm laying in the mud, and the grass is like up to my chest, and I'm going, this thing's not bad. We could probably bring this thing back to life. That'd make some good videos. And here we are now, winding up that project. And it's not a restoration. I want to make that clear. We didn't restore it. We didn't strip it down to the frame and take the body off. Not that. Just a rescue. Look it over. Figure out all the neglect, all the maintenance that never got done. And in looking at that just yesterday when we were shooting the video, and you'll see that vehicle in the background as I'm talking about fleet service maintenance and how that'll stuff a pile of money back in your pocket, and you won't be making car payments for the rest of your life, because that math doesn't work. It works for the car, for the selling dealer, and for the bank, the finance companies. But for you, it doesn't work. It's the never, never plan. So I got thinking overnight, and I'm thinking, if we could put that 97 TJ Wrangler back on the road just by catching up all the neglected maintenance, which put it there in the scrapyard in the first place, why couldn't we do that to this 2008 Nissan Rogue? So that's what I decided to do, and we went for it. And it's now part of our fleet, and now we will love on it and take really good care of it, because it's not the best vehicle on the road. It has a list of quirky things, one of the major ones being rust in the back end of those vehicles around the rear doors, what we call the rear dog leg, breaks out in a rash, and then it perforates in no time. And secondly, the continuous, CVT. I can't think of it this morning. It's got a CVT transmission, and it's belt driven. That's what I know about it. And they don't have a great history. But the biggest thing that I could find was you need to change the transmission fluid with factory Nissan transmission fluid, nothing else, every 50,000 kilometers or 30,000 miles. And don't be towing, brick buildings with it or overloading it or running it super hard like you stole it. And you can get a lot of mileage. There's a ton of those things on the road, like Toyota RAV4s. Great vehicles. Toyota Highlanders. Great vehicles. There's a ton of them out there. And so somebody's treating them well. And so when you know what the quirkiness is on a vehicle, the things that tend to be pattern failures, you can then create a game plan to prevent those things from sneaking up on you. So this particular Rogue has got to have a transmission service for sure, because I don't see any history or anything indicating that it has had a transmission service in 119,000 kilometers. So how many transmission services should that vehicle have seen already? Minimum 3. Should be on its third one now. So we're scheduling it in to the shop, and we will shoot a video on doing a transmission service on that style of transmission, CVT. I can't remember what that means at the moment without coffee. I'm not firing on all 8 cylinders at the moment, probably about 6.25. So anyways, let's hear your comments. Have you had a hand-me-down vehicle when you were going to college or university, or did your parents pick up a vehicle for you and pass it to you to be the next caregiver? And how well did you take care of that? So I'm going to share a little bit of what I think. I put down a few comments here. And the first one, and I do have a story to share, and then I'll wrap this thing up this morning. I don't want to take up too much of your time. And we'd like to thank the Grimo family at Niagara Block 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, for making this podcast possible. And we'll be moving into Season 2 early next week. Season 2, Episode 101. So there's 101 podcasts, and that's information you will not see on our YouTube channel. So you've got two areas where you can educate yourself on owning and operating an automobile, and at the same time, learning enough that you're not taken advantage of. So our TJ project is wrapping up. I'm reaching out to you, and I want to make sure I get this in there. But thank you to Niagara Block at 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, building Canada since 1931. Providing building supplies, hardscape landscaping materials, and connecting you with contractors that can estimate accurately and start and finish the job on time. Providing the weather cooperates, of course. I mean, that's always a big factor when you're working on a building. Yeah, that happened to us when we put the spades in the ground around 2012 to build this addition to house the car connection workshop, studio, and our broadcasting studio. It was nasty. The weather was not good. Our permits didn't come in until late fall, around our Thanksgiving time here in Canada. And that really was not a good time to put the spades in the ground, because the rains came, and you can just guess it. And the snows came, and we're putting up a building and digging a hole in the earth's crust. It was nasty, but we bought a bunch of supplies from Niagara Block. They were really good to us in getting those products to the job site. And I'll tell you right now, their customer service is over the moon. They'll take great care of you. So if you're looking to build that backyard outdoor space this year, you're going to want to get on somebody's schedule right now, because March is just days away. So getting back to our topic this morning, hand-me-down cars and why they last longer in families, I want to hear your comments. So send me email, let me know when that happened to you, and tell me your story. What's your story on that? Whether you're a son, a daughter, a grandson, or granddaughter, or a mother, father, aunt, or uncle, vehicles get moved around. And so I think the biggest thing is emotional ownership versus disposable. How did I come up with that? Well, from what I see and what I've seen in 44 plus years of being a service tech and still fully qualified and licensed and hands-on, the emotional side. Because I see that with someone, Skippy, is very emotionally attached to her father's van that was passed on to her, and to a vehicle that she took care of her son for 17 years, and he needed full-time adult help. He was not a well child right from birth, and I'm going to let Skippy tell you that story on a video. We were just talking about that yesterday, and I said, you really need to share that story with our viewers and our listeners, because I said it's an amazing story. I said it's a love story. And so her attachment to that van that helped to keep her child mobile, that was the independence right there. Emotional attachment. So I got thinking about that. Somebody gives you an automobile, hands you the keys, it says, it's yours. It's a gift. How do you feel about that? Or a grandparent passes, or a mom or dad passes and leaves you a vehicle. What's the attachment there? I think it's emotional. I really do. I think it's, you look at that vehicle and you say, this was so and so's vehicle, and I have it. I have it to take care of. I think that when you just go out and you buy a vehicle, the attitude and the mindset is totally different. Like, you really don't care if it gets trashed, and a lot of people are like that until they got to replace it and they go, holy smokes, do you know how much that's going to cost me to buy something else? That's a crazy thing. I didn't pay that for this one, but now it's over. You didn't caregive it. You didn't have that emotional attachment. And I remember, and I'll leave you with this story. I do have a couple other things. I think it's kids inheriting vehicles, ownership, the emotional ownership, and kids inheriting vehicles, and why those family vehicles get better maintenance. I think it's the emotional attachment versus depreciation. That was another thing I got thinking about. Is when you just go out and you buy a vehicle, it didn't belong to somebody else that you knew. There was no emotional attachment because of a relationship. It's just a car. But I think when it's handed from one generation to the next one, there's that relationship that's attached to that automobile. And I remember my former mother-in-law, who I had the greatest mother-in-law for 24 and a half years. And that's a story in itself, but not for today. That all went to hell in a handbasket, but just the same, she was a great mother-in-law. And we had a lot of laughs together and enjoyed a lot of things that we shared the same. And she bought this 1984 Toyota Tercel, little white four-door hatchback. And she used to she brought all her vehicles to our shop. And I remember the lecture I got. She said, I'm not bringing my vehicle here for you to work on it and get paid nothing. I'm bringing it here because I know you fix vehicles with passion and compassion. So you charge me like you would charge anyone else. And if I find out you give me a discount, I'm not coming back. Like, well, that's a pretty good deal, right? She was the only one out of the entire family, our families, that brought their vehicle to me to have it fixed and paid for it. So anyway, she had this Tercel. She saved. She bought it brand spanking new. She lived in Hamilton in the West End for many years. We're talking super decades. And she worked for a company called Litton Systems. She worked on the team at Litton Systems that created the robotic arm for the space shuttle. She did some very interesting stuff there. Stuff that was on the QT. And so she commuted from West Hamilton, all the way to Rexdale every single day. So she bought this brand new, and she carpooled. She did carpool as well with one of her bosses, and it worked out. They lived in Ancaster. She bought this 1984 Tercel, and she drove it and drove it and drove it. She went on one of her long journeys that she would map out and go across Canada with her car and herself, by herself, and until the point it was time she said, it's time for me to get a newer vehicle now. And so that vehicle got handed to me to do whatever I wanted with, and I passed it on to someone, my mentor's son, because he was going to school. And I have to tell you this, that vehicle was well cared for, and the bodies started coming apart on it. The bottoms of the fenders were flapping, and it had almost 500,000 kilometers on it. How crazy is that? And it was just a four-door, 1.6 liter. No, I don't know if it had air conditioning or not. I can't remember. But, yeah, it was a gutless wonder. 0 to 60, yes. But it ran on pretty much farts in a jar. And it was an automatic, so it was super gutless on the takeoff. But you could get there. And that was driven for almost just under 500,000 kilometers, and it was done. The body was getting super rough, but it had served, and it had served extremely well. And Kelvin, who had it, drove that thing to and from school and co-ops and whatnot, and it got him through school. And there you go. Was there an emotional attachment? I think there was. I think me passing it on to somebody else was like, I could have used that for myself or given it to somebody else, but I chose to help, and it all worked out in the end. And then her second vehicle, same thing. She decided, it was starting to burn some oil, and we managed to get that settled down. She wanted a minivan, and we're going to be talking about minivans coming up very, very soon. Can you look stellar behind the wheel of a minivan? I don't know. Can you accessorize it to look cool? Yeah, what are your thoughts? So we're going to have some fun about minivans. And we know they are people carriers, gear carriers, and they are the ultimate in getting stuff moved around. But, can you really look, can you be that hot soccer, hockey mom behind the steering wheel of a minivan? Or dads, can you be that cool dude, that stellar-looking chap behind the steering wheel? So we're going to be talking about that. I'm not sure if it's going to be this Friday or not. I'm thinking it could be. It could be Friday's conversation. Fun Friday. Come and join us for that as well. So I ended up with a second vehicle from my amazing mother-in-law at the time, and she bought that used. We found that used. It was only a couple of years old. It was another Tercel. She wanted another Tercel, and she drove that till she said, you know what? I want to do a major trip all across Canada, all through Alaska, and she wanted to drive it and sleep in a minivan. So we ended up picking up a minivan, a really good one, at a good price, and she passed me that Tercel, and I thought, there's somebody probably that's one of my clients at the shop at the time might want this. So, I did all the mechanicals. The engine was giving us some grief. It was burning a little bit, using a little oil, but we managed to get that taken care of, and I sold it to a customer at a really good price. And they drove that car for a long time. And boy, did they ever take care of it. It never looked like it aged. And I said, you've really taken fantastic care of this vehicle. And her name was Eunice. I said, Eunice, amazing. She goes, well, I knew it was your mother-in-law's, and I didn't want to let you down. How cool is that? And that's how I came up with this morning's the emotional ownership is stronger than just buying a vehicle somewhere and it becomes disposable. But there's something about that emotional attachment. Have you ever experienced that? Share that with us. Send me an email, Niall@Motormouth. Niall, you can use that email too. Motormouth.jenkins, if that's easier for you. Motormouth, all one word, motormouth.jenkins@gmail.com or niall@ccbusnet.com. Don't forget to visit the homepage of our website. That's where you'll find Crystal Ridge Dream Center, serving men, women, children, single moms, seniors, meals, love, and hope. And it's Tuesday today, so they'll be feeding about 260, 300 people out the door. And they do that on Fridays as well. They have after-school programs for the kids. They help them with their homework. They mentor them. They love on them. They play games, chocolate bingo, and stuff like that. That's really cool. And movie nights for the kids. But they feed them as well. Changing lives one at a time in the Niagara region. That's what they do. Our nonprofit, faith-based organization that we've come alongside with in 2025 and into 2026. They're doing what we should all be doing, and that is reach out. Be a hand up, not a handout, a hand up. Give a man a fish, feed him for the day, teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime. And thank you to Total Freedom Addiction Campuses, Canada and U.S. That's the purpose of our online store, is when you buy merch from our online store on our homepage of our website, proceeds go to help those struggling with addiction get to Total Freedom Addiction campuses in Canada and USA, where a new life waits them there. It's not a program, it's a life change. You can't fix and you can't fight what you can't see. It's a centered healing program and restoration to individuals and families enslaved by cycles of addiction and destructive behaviors. And it's just great to be able to come alongside things like that that make a difference in somebody else's life. Because when you take your eyes off yourself, watch what happens. Yeah. Life is the rent we pay for taking up space here on this earth. Are we paying our rent? So happy, healthy motoring today. Drive safe. Keep an eye on the other guy. You know who I'm talking about. That guy buzzing in and out of traffic at high speeds. Keep an eye on your speedometer. Just remember, that sign that says 100 kilometers is not a suggestion. It's the deal. It's the real deal. So keep your vehicle happy, healthy, and stay with us. We'll see you tomorrow morning for another edition of Motor Mouth's Morning Drive. Peace, patience, kindness always. Make it a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.